Hello my lovelies and welcome back to my channel. Today I have a video for you that talks about thread. Maybe it's not something you would expect, but I did make a promise to some of you that follow me around Facebook, and I noticed in the Wizardry, Stitchery and Crafts Facebook group a lot of people had most of the same questions about their new thread. So I wanted to do this video and have it all in one place and hopefully answer most if not all of the questions that I've seen posted throughout the wall. You are obviously welcome to comment with any extra questions you might have. Obviously follow Wizardry, Stitchery and Crafts on Facebook. Their website is geekyhardware.com, and as usual everything will be linked in the description below. So for everyone else who is not in the Wizardry group on Facebook, Melissa is launching a new product in her shop, which is a variegated thread called Unicorn Mane that will coordinate with her Unicorn Mane vinyl and the Unicorn Mane zipper tape. She had it custom dyed to go with this vinyl and zipper tape. So it's a very nice unicorny set that should not be missing from your sewing arsenal. You can obviously everything that I'm showing you can be purchased on her website right now. This is the tape that has the nylon coils matching the tape, or you can purchase it with silver coils. It might come in other finishes too, but for now this is what I have in my house, so I wanted to show you. It's meant to coordinate with these two, and this is the Unicorn Mane waterfall vinyl that she carries. So it was only obvious that we needed thread to go with it. So she is doing an order for these two threads, two different types of threads. One is Tex 80, which is 1 pound. It's heavy. It's a 1 pound and it's 4,900 meters. And this is made for industrial sewing machines like the Juki's, the Conso, or any other industrials that you have and you use for bag making mainly. It's a heavier thread. It's a Tex 80 poly, bonded poly thread. This other option that she will be carrying is half a pound option, so half the size of this one. This one is a Tex 45 and it's 4,100 meters for the thread length. It's a lighter weight than the Tex 80, but it's also perfect for domestic machines. You can put it through an industrial if you want, but it works great with domestic machines. It works great with your cover stitch and your sergers if you choose to do so. So I wanted to talk to you about these threads today, and some of you may be new to the terminology. So first and foremost, poly. What is poly? Polyester versus nylon. These are poly based, which were the preference. I've tested a few other options from her. We've been working on this project for a while now for this thread, so there have been many samples coming and many weights, and we ended up with this one because poly thread is UV resistant, and most of us use these threads for bag making, so stuff that will be outside in the sun, so you want it to be UV resistant. So poly was the option for that. Poly also has minimal stretch versus nylon. So if you plan on using it in your cover stitch, I would always go for poly versus nylon. So this can be used for garment sewing for decorative stitches as well. What does bonded mean? A bonded thread is something you want to have when you sew bags. It's a finishing process that's basically coating the thread to make sure it doesn't unravel. You can use non-bonded thread if you want, but you have the chance of the fabric unraveling in the in the loopers or in the it goes through the machine. So if you have a choice between bonded and non-bonded, always go for bonding, because that's an extra step in the process of making the custom dyed thread, which adds a coating to the thread, makes it more resistant, and it won't unravel while you work with it. So that's it for the technical stuff. Like, we've covered the technical stuff. I'm not here to give you a lesson in threads and other types. I just wanted to make sure that you understand when I say poly. Now, size, weight, I went over it. These are huge, like huge rolls. I am not a small person, and this is the roll in my hands. But if you want a more accurate visual of this, let me show you. One, this is a regular Gutermann thread. Just side by side with these two, just so you have an idea. A regular 100% polyester thread. This one is 100 meters. Just so you have an idea. This is an unopened thread, so it's brand new. It has 100 meters on it. This is 4,100 meters. So just so you have an idea of the size. And this is 4,900 meters. And this is 100. So pretty much you can get 49 of these spools in this one. If you want another visual, these are two serger threads. This is a Maxi-Lock variegated thread that I got from Wawak, and I've used it a little bit, not too much, but a little bit. Not sure what's the initial size of this. Oh, maybe it says here. Oh, this one is 2743 meters, so 2700 meters. And this one, the one used for sergers or domestic machines or cover stitch, is 4,100. So twice as much. Over. No, about twice. This is how the spools look side by side. And I'm talking again about the little one. I'm not even comparing it to the industrial one. This is huge. And this is an unused, because I really don't use brown thread. This is 3,000 yards. So about the same as this. Yeah, so this was 3,000 yards too. So 2,700 meters. This is coats, I think, from Joanne. Just so you have an idea of the size of this thread. So for a visual, I wanted to put them all side by side, because not everyone will understand the difference and how big these rolls are. These will last you so long, especially if you sew as a hobbyist. They will last you a long time. I went ahead and did some stitching that I wanted to show you. So let's see it in action. This is cork fabric, and the top is the Tex 45 used as a straight stitch, a wavy stitch, and a zigzag stitch. My favorite is that zigzag stitch. My goodness, it looks so good. And this on the bottom is my industrial machine using the Tex 80 as a straight stitch. And stick around, because I'm showing you in this video in just a few seconds while the machine as it stitches this. So this is cork. Let's move on to vinyl. These are made on the industrial machine. This is Tex 80 on vinyl, just simple vinyl, non-interfaced, because I didn't feel like interfacing it. And this is on my this is the Tex 45 on my domestic machine, without adjusting any tensions or any using a Teflon foot. It's just a regular sew. So it would look even better if you used a Teflon foot and or water-soluble stabilizer in between your presser foot and your vinyl, so it glides a little easier. This has nothing to do with the thread. This has to do with the fact that it wasn't gliding smooth enough. But it works beautifully in your domestic machine. Next up, I have cotton woven interfaced with woven interfacing. This is on the industrial machine, the lower one. Okay, so the lower stitching is on my industrial with the Tex 80, and the top is the Tex 45 on my domestic machine, and a zigzag stitch, a straight stitch, and various length. Stick around and you can see what everything as I did it on the machine. That's woven. Next up, I have cotton lycra interface with woven interfacing. A lot of us use cotton lycra for bag making, and it definitely works on a domestic machine and an industrial one. So the top right here is the Tex 80 in my industrial, and the bottom is Tex 45 in my domestic machine. And then I have also cotton lycra that I have interfaced with woven interfacing and fleece. This is thermolam, so it's thicker than normal. The bottom one is the bottom stitch right here is Tex 80, and the top one is Tex 45 on my domestic and on my industrial. As you can see, absolutely beautiful, absolutely stunning, beautiful stitches on the front and on the back. And last but not least, I put the Tex 45, not the 80, the Tex 45, I put it through my cover stitch and my serger with cotton lycra. So let's see how it looks. First on the cover stitch, you can see here in the first two rows, I have the left needle with the Tex 45. I only have one spool, so that's why I couldn't put it in both needles. But I will get more for sure when it's available on the website. So elasticity, beautiful. It looks absolutely gorgeous. So I would definitely use this in the cover stitch as well. And this is with the reverse cover stitch. This is with the Tex 45 in the looper instead of the needle. So this is in the needle, left needle, and this is in the looper. This is also in the looper, but you'll see it on the back. So absolutely gorgeous. And lastly, I did put this through the serger, although I'm not a big fan of wasting gorgeous thread on the serger. The serger is used for constructions. There are not much decorative stitches done with the serger, so honestly I wouldn't waste my beautiful fabric in the serger, but you can if you want to. This is in the serger. You would need to obviously adjust your tensions, and this is in the left needle, so it works, but why? Like, I wouldn't use it in a serger because it's a waste of beautiful thread. So this is the these are the examples that I wanted to give you. So most of the questions that I've heard and seen in the Facebook group are related to the which one goes where and can I use this in my machine. So in a nutshell, to summarize, the Tex 80 is for your industrial machine, Tex 45 is for your domestic sewing machine, or your serger, or your cover stitch. There may be tensions that you need to adjust if you don't have automatic tension. For my cover stitch, I did not have to adjust anything because the machine does all the work. For my serger, I had to because it's one of the 1034D sergers, so definitely bottom of the line and not top of the line sergers, but it works just as well. Another question that I saw is, can I use this in my cover stitch? So there you have it. It can definitely be used in the cover stitch. Another question that I saw is which bases and we went through a few of them, but I cannot think of a base that wouldn't take this thread when it comes to bag making. When it comes to garment sewing, I would avoid using the Tex 45, obviously not the industrial, because that's out of the question for domestic machines. I would avoid using the Tex 45 for garment making if you're using just one layer of cotton. Just for one layer of cotton, and especially thinner cotton, I would not use it. It's a thicker fabric. It's a, I was trying to see if it has the weight. I don't see it here. I would not use this for like chiffon or stuff like that, ever. This is for mainly for bag making, or if you want to use it with thicker cotton lycra, or interfaced woven, or thicker wovens. I would use it for quilting, most definitely. I would not use it to create bridal gowns, let's put it that way. Other questions that I saw, what needles? For the domestic one, for Tex 45, I used just a standard needle. Obviously, if you sew with vinyl, you should use a microtex, not a problem to use just a standard or microtex needle with it. For my cover stitch, I think I have the organ ones. So basically I didn't change any needles from my regular thread. And for the Tex 80 in my industrial machine, I used my size 18 or 19 needles. I like to keep it between 18, 19 and 20 for the needle. I hope this covered some of the questions. Let's see the Tex 80 unicorn mane in action on an industrial machine. Like I mentioned before, Tex 80 is perfect for industrial machines. So I have a couple of fabrics here that we use frequently in bag making and not only. So we'll put it through the test with all of these bases. This is an uninterfaced marine vinyl. This is an uninterfaced cork. This is cotton woven interfaced with woven interfacing. This is a cotton lycra interfaced with woven interfacing. And this is a cotton lycra that's interfaced with woven interfacing and felt. It's actually it's thermolam, so fusible fleece thermolam. So I'm gonna run all of them through this. I have in my bobbin, I have upholstery thread that I believe it's Tex 75 or Tex 70, I think I have. So thinner than the unicorn mane. And of course, in my needle, I have the unicorn mane Tex 80. So let's do a few straight stitches and we'll see how they look. I'm going slow just so you guys can see. The stitch length is set at 3 right now, because that's one of the most common stitch lengths used for top stitching. And I'm going from cork to vinyl to woven, well, to cotton lycra interface to woven, and then the last one will be this cotton lycra interfaced with thermolam as well. It did not react differently in any way going from base to base. As you can see, I did a chain stitch. I stitched it in a chain, it's not a chain stitch, with all of them, and nothing has changed. So I'll show you a close-up of all of them. This is cork, beautiful stitching. This is vinyl. Let's see, this is cotton lycra interfaced with woven interfacing. This up next is cotton woven interfaced with woven interfacing. And last but not least, this is cotton lycra interfaced with woven interfacing and thermolam. As you can see, the stitches stayed absolutely the same. Nothing changed. There was no issue going from base to base. I'm going to do a longer stitch on this solid blue fabric so you can see the color variation on blue. I feel like this thread pops the most when used on black and white, but mainly on black. I think on black is my favorite. And maybe I'll continue on the vinyl too. Lots of our testers have been working with both the Tex 80 and the Tex 45, so you can see it used in many projects throughout the wall in Wizardry Stitchery. I want to show you the colors on this. So you can see the colors on yellow. Absolutely gorgeous. And on blue, they pop really nicely. So this is Tex 80 on an industrial sewing machine. I'm using a Juki DU1181N walking foot, but it will look probably the same way on all industrial machines. I don't see why it would be any different on the 8700 or any other ones. And the back is just a gray, like upholstery thread. Absolutely gorgeous. Let's move on to a domestic machine. I'm going to go ahead and put all of these fabrics and bases through the domestic machine with the Tex 45. Let's put the Tex 45 through the test in a domestic sewing machine. I'm using a Baby Lock Elissimo Gold. In my bobbin, I have Finishing Touch bobbin thread, which is the preferred bobbin thread for Baby Lock and Brother sewing machines. And of course, in my needle, I have Tex 45 Unicorn Mane from Wizardry Stitchery. I'm going to go ahead and use the exact same fabrics as I used before and see how it looks. I have a universal needle right now. I haven't changed it to a Microtex or anything like that. I just have a universal needle, and I'm using my standard stitch length of 2.5 with a tension of 4 millimeter, and we'll see if I need to adjust any of that. This is cotton woven, interface with woven interfacing, with an interface stitch length of 2.5. Everything looks beautiful. It does seem like I am seeing my a little bit of the bobbin thread on the outside, so I need to just adjust my bobbin a little bit, or maybe if we'll see if I decrease the tension a little bit. It looks good. All right, let's see vinyl. So for vinyl, I'm going to try the same thing, although I do not like to sew vinyl with a 2.5 stitch length on a domestic machine. I still prefer a 3 length. So I'll do 2 for the first part, and then I'll change it to a 3 length. So this is what it looks like. See, I don't like vinyl sewn with a 2-point. I find it's too small on a domestic machine. But it does look beautiful. And I will actually go ahead and do a 3.5, because I think a 3.5 will look even better. And I have not made any adjustments to my machine. Obviously, if you change the weight of your thread than what you're standardly sewing with, you will need to make some adjustments. But for right now, just for the purpose of this video, I have not made any adjustments. So this is the vinyl. Let's see, this is the fleece interfaced cotton lycra, so a pretty thick option. I feel like it likes this one better, and I'm not surprised because vinyl, I'm not even using a Teflon foot. I'm using a regular foot, so if I use a Teflon foot, I'm sure it would like the vinyl more. Beautiful. I feel like this one is, so far looks the best. So I'm at a 3.5 length. Let me do it at 3, just to check. And a thicker base. So cotton lycra with woven interfacing and felt. And I feel like it glides even better. So this is a 3 length at the top and a 3.5 at the bottom. These two are the Tex 45. It's obviously thinner than the rest of them. Let's see, cotton lycra interfaced with woven interfacing. Again, it glides really nicely. And this machine does have automatic tension, so if your machine does not, you might need to play around with the tensions, but it works absolutely beautiful. And there you go. So this is the Tex 45 and this is the Tex 80 from earlier. Stitches beautifully. And let's see cork. So it does like, and it's understandable because of the weight, it does like thicker fabrics run through it. So I would not necessarily use this thread for sewing thin materials with it. Like I would not use it to sew thin bamboo or what else? Thin cotton lycra non-interfaced. I would mainly use it for interfaced fabrics. It looks absolutely stunning on cork. See? You can tell that the bottom is thicker for the industrial machine. This one is a little thinner, but it stitches absolutely beautiful. And see, I cannot see the bobbin thread and in the cork because it's a thicker fabric. And this is the back. Absolutely gorgeous. So thumbs up. Actually, I want to try one more thing. I'm going to fold the woven, which was probably my for sure my thinnest base. I'm going to fold it in half. So now I have 2 layers of woven and 2 layers of woven interfacing. And it already glides better. So it definitely likes a thicker base. See? Definitely likes a thicker base. So absolutely gorgeous. Let me do one more test. Not that in bag making we do a lot of this, but I do want to try a zigzag stitch and see how it looks. Industrial machines don't do it. Oh my goodness, it looks gorgeous. Oh my god. I'm gonna try it on cork. Oh my god, look at this. Come on. There. Look at that zigzag stitch. Oh my goodness. So pretty. Let me try that on cork. Maybe we should do a decorative stitch. And if somebody wants to tell me to refocus on my plan of talking about the thread with straight stitches, just tell me, because apparently I'm like the kid in the candy store right now. I'm looking for decorative stitches. Ooh, this would be cute, like a wavy stitch. Or a snowflake? No. Okay, I'm gonna do the wavy stitch and see how it looks. Okay, so let's see this wavy stitch. I have a feeling I'm going to love it, and I actually am loving it. Oh wow, that is so cute. One more, and then we'll move on to the next machine in my sewing room. Promise. Okay, let's do the zigzag stitch on cork too. I have to admit, I think the zigzag stitch with this thread is my absolute favorite. Look how pretty! Look how pretty. So this is the Unicorn Mane Tex 45. All 3 stitches from here are on a domestic sewing machine with like a white bobbin thread on cork. I hope you guys can see the brightness in these videos. I hope I do this thread justice. Alright, so we went over the bases in a domestic sewing machine for stitching bags. I'm going to put it to the ultimate sewing test, which means taking this thread that's more for bag making because of its weight, and I'm going to put it through my serger and my cover stitch machine and see how it performs. I only have 1 spool, so I'm going to use it in only one of the needles and see how it performs, or maybe I can even put it in the looper for a cover stitch. So I'll see you in just a little bit. Let's see how the Unicorn Mane Tex 45 does in a cover stitch machine. I'm doing the tour of my sewing room, and it starts with my industrial. Well, it technically starts with my domestic, then cover stitch, then serger, then industrial. But I was too excited to try the Tex 80. So moving on to the cover stitch machine. So I put my Unicorn Mane in the left looper. Ideally you would in the left needle. Ideally you would have it in both needles, because now I'm using serger weight thread on my right needle and Unicorn Mane, so thicker and heavier weight thread, in my left needle. So we'll see how the machine adjusts. This is a machine that does automatic tension. It's an baby lock ovation, so I am blessed enough to not have to finick with it. With a machine that does not do automatic tension, you will have to adjust your tension according to the thread and the fabric that you're putting through it. In my looper I have just regular serger thread, so let's see what happens. And as a fabric base I have 2 layers of good old-fashioned cotton lycra. Oh wow, I did not expect it to work this beautiful right off the spot. It might be because the machine adjusts its tensions. It it sensed a heavier thread, so it adjusted. But I think if I had both of the loopers, and I will because I'm definitely buying more, this would be so amazing. So this is cotton lycra, just a regular solid cotton lycra. And on my left needle I have the unicorn mane, my right needle has just a gray thread, and this is the back. So it definitely works. Let me try 4 layers just in case I want to see how that goes. So I'm going just to fold it here. So I have 4 layers of cotton lycra right now. I want to see if it prefers thicker. Oh, it works just as good. Oh wow, this is so pretty. So I'm definitely going to put it in the looper now and see how that works, because I think it will make a stunning decorative stitch right now. Here you go. So this is with 4 layers of cotton lycra. It looks absolutely stunning, absolutely stunning. If you have this machine does wave stitch as well, which would be so nice in this thread. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and change my thread in the needles, and I'm using 2 needles, but obviously you can use 3. The 3 needle option, I'm using the widest distance between the needles that my machine allows. Okay, let me just put my needle back in, my thread back in the needle, and then I'll change it in the looper. And we'll do a decorative stitch, because I think it will look gorgeous. See, I was the most skeptical about using this thread because it's definitely heavier than regular serger thread. I was most skeptical to use it in the cover stitch for knits, but I guess I just needed to put it to the test. Okay. So now I thread it through the looper, and we're going to reverse cover stitch. So we're going to have the pretty side of the fabric on top and just see how it looks. We can actually do a real hem, or doesn't really matter. I just want to show you how it looks in the looper. And again, I have 2 layers of covers of cotton lycra right now. Okay, so now it's on the back of the fabric. Now I'm going to put the pretty side on the right side of the fabric. This way you can see them all at the same time. So I just flipped my fabric. And I'm going to stitch. Locking in. Oh wow, I knew this would be amazing. I knew this would be awesome. Alright, so first 2 rows is what we did the first time, which is unicorn mane in the left needle. This second two have it in the looper, so I have regular thread here on the front, and this we did a reverse cover stitch, so I basically flipped the fabric over and did unicorn mane decorative stitch. It looks so good, so good. So definitely a thumbs up for your cover stitch machine. Gorgeous. Okay, last test that I'm going to put it through. I just want to make sure the focus is correct. Gorgeous. Oh my god, it's so bright. Alright, the last test I'm going to put it through is the serger test. So I'm going to put it in one of the needles, but honestly, truthfully speaking, I wouldn't put this thread in a serger, because the serger stitch, I just want to see if it works, but the serger stitch is one that you don't see, and this thread is meant to be seen. This thread is not meant to go into garment construction. I mean, you can, but why would you? Why would you invest the money in a beautiful thread to use it for construction that you won't even see? You can use standard thread for construction and use this beautiful one for just for decorative purposes. But I will put it through the serger because I said I would, and I want to see if it works. So meet me right back here in a second. Let's see how the unicorn mane does in the serger. So for now, I just put it in my left needle, and let's see how it does. And this is just a good old-fashioned Baby Lock 1034D, the inexpensive ones. So it looks absolutely beautiful, and it works, so you can certainly use it in your serger. There you go. You can most definitely use it in your serger, but why would you? I mean, this is a waste of thread, if you ask me right now, to just use it in the serger. Let me see if I can serge. I want to cut off some of this. Because I want to see how it looks when you open the two fabrics. I'm going to serge these two pieces together. Disregard my old serger blade, it has nothing to do with the thread. Beautiful, see? It's stitched out beautifully. Come on. Sorry about that. Apparently my camera likes my serger way too much. Okay, so this is what it looks like. I'm pulling the fabric, but if I leave it normal, it looks fine. So it can definitely be used in the serger. Obviously you would need to adjust the tensions, and I did not do that because I don't plan on leaving it here. But it most certainly works in the serger. Now, if you're looking to do a decorative stitch on your serger, maybe put it in the loopers, but this one you need to adjust the tensions, obviously, because it starts to pull a little bit on this side. So obviously the weight, and it's normal for the weight of the fabric and the weight of the thread to impact the tensions. And this does not have an automatic tension. Maybe one day I'll replace this one. It's on my list for maybe next year. So it works, but why? Pretty much. This is thread that is meant to be seen, not meant to be put in the seams of a garment or a bag. I hope you enjoyed seeing this thread in action, and you are excited to get yourself a spool or 2 or 5 or 10 of this beautiful, beautiful thread. Don't forget about the coordinating unicorn main line, the vinyl, the zipper thread, obviously the zipper tape. Obviously the pulls will work great with it. For this one I would use even silver pulls or rainbow ones. So go ahead and browse around geekyhardware.com and see if you like anything from there. If you have any questions, obviously feel free to comment to place your question here in the comments, or you can always ask in the Wizardry, Stitchery and Crafts group. There's a bunch of helpful people there that can answer your inquiries, and I will talk to you guys in my next one. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share. Bye.